How are we? Is everybody well? I think I've got a few people there, not sure. But hello to whoever is there, or hello anybody watching back again at a later date. Hope we're all well. Well, the world is trying to come back to somewhere near normal on the 4th of July. Well, most people's world is, mine won't be yet. But right, well, I'm carrying on with my hawk. So, I'm still debating as to what I'm going to do with his outfit. So while I debate that, I'm going to do a bit more of his feathers. It's certainly going to be a hot one. I reckon it's going to get upwards of 30 odd degrees and like 32 on Friday. It's like, oh, it's going to be horrific. I do quite like the hot weather though. For a big lad, I do quite like it. Mr. Murphy! Hello, hello, how are we? How are you doing, my man? How many screens have you got set up tonight? I hope tonight you have football, snooker, and me, and hopefully something better than a bloody bottle of Red Stripe. most impressed with your setup the other night. That was multitasking at a bachelor pad's finest. Thinner. Can you hear me all right? Am I loud enough? I've got the camera in a slightly different position, so I'm not entirely sure how well it picks me up. So you could just let me know if there is any issue, and I can do almost bugger all about it. I'll try. Where have I put that today? Ah, there it is, that's right. Bobby Clark, good evening, how are you? Stephen Murphy, me and the snooker tonight. Love it. Love it. Well, I hope I shall be a pleasant backdrop to the snooker for you tonight, so just going to bring in some grey into the wings of this old boy. A few patches where he's just a bit too light. Bobby Clark, how are we this evening, my man? How many thousand points of Ultramarines have you waded through this week, or since we last spoke? For those that aren't aware, and that will be everybody but Steve, Stephen Murphy is one of my old housemates. We lived in the fabulous St Mary Street together. Good times, good times. That's nice. That's just knocked back that featherage a bit. So I've been trying to grasp editing videos over the last few days, and my Adobe Premiere Pro abilities have increased, I don't know, I'll say 100-fold, but that would be very much based on the fact I had almost zero ability going into it. All I'd ever edited video wise really was something I did when I worked at King's School in Ely, and I made a video for my Colts rugby team, but I did it on iMovie, which was just super simple, and it was a nice little video. I was very proud of it, but it wasn't trying to do any of the stuff that I'm trying to do in the stuff I'm doing now. Bobby Clark. I'm good, thanks. Been exercising only to find that I have the dexterity of a pensioner. I'm with you there, buddy. I think many a 60-plus-year-old could consider themselves in better shape than I feel some days. Hey ho, such is life. Such is life. 4 viewers? 4? Who else is it? Who else is out there? Come forth, come into the light. So yeah, I think I'll probably have this finished pretty quick, but I will do the base actually tonight. So it might be the only thing I get done on the stream tonight. But I keep debating getting the airbrush out for the stream, but I don't know if it would just be an absolute pain in the ass noise wise. Just so you can all kind of watch me go through the first goes at it. Get back on the base, you bagger. Stubborn bagger. Right. Bobby Clark made 5 moulds so I can cast the ultramarine bases. All the models are finished now, thankfully. All of them. All finished. Woo! 9,000 points for ultramarines. I tried to think how many individual... I know obviously it's marines, so there'll be, plenty of big expensive units, but that's still got to be a body count to knock up 9,000. Bugger the paint holder, it's annoying me. Carry some of that grey over, just so it carries through the other side a little bit. Bobby Clark made a start on a Space Marine temple now. Should be a nice finale. Is that for the commission as well, or is that just for your own fancies? Have you been doing any painting or anything lately, Steve? You getting any of the Black Seas done, or any of the Legion, Star Wars Legion stuff? If you're still there. Right. Decided it's going to be gold. I'm going to use my contrast gold technique on it because I think the gold will be a nice pop, and he's obviously a bird of prey. I kind of think that he'd have somewhat sort of regalness about him, like almost like he's what's the word I'm looking for, like wealthy in a sense, Same commission, Bobby Clark, same commission, a little display board. Yeah, a little display board, Bobby, that holds 9,000 points worth of ultramarines. Yes, I'm sure little is exactly the word you're looking for. So this is my technique for gold now that I've sort of stumbled across. It's that when I say gold, obviously there's so many different varieties of shades of gold that you could argue about, but when I'm talking about what I consider to be a very, very, like when you see like Egyptian relics, that kind of gold, that really gold, bright, beaming sunshine gold kind of thing. Steve Murphy, a little Legion and a little Walking Dead. Good man, all right, you're getting some done. I really am hankering to play Star Wars Legion with you, buddy. just, well, to be fair, I'm hankering to play anything. You know, as much as I've enjoyed Tabletop Simulator, this, that, and whatever, it ain't the same. It's being around my friends that I really game for. That's all I care about, really. If the game in the back end of it is good as well, that's all bonus. But even a crap game is good with good company. Well, except Talisman. Talisman sucks regardless of who you're with. So yeah, this gold technique I use the contrast paint Nazdrig yellow, which is a very brown yellow in the first place. It's you know, it really is a kind of almost leathery wash more than it is a brown, more than it is a yellow. But then I use a paint which I still don't know where on earth I got it from. It's one of the dry paints, which, as I said, till I even looked at I had it, I didn't realise Games Workshop did a dry range. But it's the Sigmarite Gold one of that, and then you just use it really, really lightly, like almost like a buff over the top of Nazdrig yellow, and it just gives this lovely, lovely gold effect. Really nice. I kind of stumbled across it when I was doing the Spartans and like Leonidas for my Mythic Battles Pantheon, and so chuffed with it. Bobby Clark, it's only going to have about 1,000 points on it. It's just a little one for his man cave. Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense then. I get yes. I'm with you now. I need to paint those straps back in a bit. A little extra. Grey just to bring them back. Sorry, keep her on camera. I don't know what I'm going to do with the base for this one. As you know, doing bases is one of my favourite things. I'm not entirely sure how much I'm going to put on the base of this. On the basis he's flying, my logic was it wouldn't fly too close to any major amounts of debris. But then I quite like the idea of him kind of like he's just avoiding something, you know, cutting it fine, you know. For the straps there, so I can do that. Did you get your tufts and flocks from a specific retailer? Yeah, all my tufts, all the tufts come from Pico Scenic, which is this company, Pico Scene. Pico Scene. I have also, in fact, yes, the flock I really like most now is Pico Scene, or sorry, Static Grass, sorry. Which is this one is Pico Scene. Oh bugger! What season is it? I want to say it's the spring range, Pico Scene Spring. It's just a really nice tone, really natural tone to it. And then I've got various flocks and scatters, some of which I think came from Pico Scene, but it's hard to tell. Some of them are just like dried herbs. It's hard to tell what was something legit. Starkey's Man Cave. Hey mate, how's things? It's all very good, Mr. Sir. How are you? Are you well? Can you hear the fan? Because I have to have a fan going on here, otherwise I'll literally melt. Which probably would do me the worst. Probably do me the world of good. But I'm not sure if it was too much of a pain noise-wise for you. No. I won't do that. So this is one of my contrast paints, ultramarines blue, but it is actually snakebite leather. For some reason it was marked wrong. Oh, sorry Steve, I can hear it now you've mentioned it. I wish I never bloody mentioned it now. Turn it down, that might be a little bit better. I couldn't understand when I first started using these paints, and I was seeing lots of people say, like, you know, the ones that they thought were really good out of the contrast range, and which ones were really good, which ones were cack and whatever. And I consistently heard people saying, "Oh, the snakebite leather contrast paints, that's amazing, that's really good." And I thought, these people are getting confused, because, well, snakebite leathers, that's just a normal paint. There isn't a snakebite leather contrast. And it wasn't till I actually when I got one of these paint racks, and I put all my paints to, like, I put them in the sort of colour groupings, like the blues and the greens and so forth like that. And it wasn't until I got to this ultramarine blue and looked at it, it was like, well, it ain't blue. And then that's when I found out it was snakebite leather. And you know what? Those people were absolutely correct. It's bloody good. But in general, the browns and the very neutral shades for the contrasts are all very, very good. I think it's where the range of the paint really sings. Starkey's Man Cave, I'm good, thanks. Sat in my man caves pondering what to do. So much choice, and end up watching YouTube. Oh yes, isn't that the case? Well, or you could be like Steve above, who's watching the snooker, and me, and it wouldn't surprise me if I stick a podcast on in a minute. Really, I don't think I've got much left to do on this, actually. It really is just the base I think I'm going to be doing. Everything else I'm pretty generally happy with. Oh, I've got to put his eyeballs in. Knocked a bit. Not sure if I'm going to do a wash in a few bits of his feathers, just to again get those little slightly shade differences. I think maybe that, no, I don't think that would be the right idea to do. Got nice tones around the face that I'm happy with. These little variations, so probably hard to tell, but this is a nice like light grey patch under his eyes, and then happy with the beak as well. Looks come out nicely. Claws as well have all come out nicely. What are your options, Mr. in Starkey's Man Cave? What things are on the painting table ready to go? Where's my dry? Where is that? I don't know why I shook that for a second. They're a bloody long time shaking that to get anything out of it. Yeah, they're really weird, these dry paints. And I think I've got another one up there. I've got a white as well. And essentially, it just looks like... Yeah, that's the one paint pot I can drop without fear. God alive. Yeah, I mean, they're really good. They are exactly what they said in the tin, but they're essentially... It's like they're getting us now to pay for how paints, all Games Workshop paints used to turn out after like a year. And they used to get all the gunk around the back and they'd dry out. So it seems Games Workshop figured out how to charge for it now. It's a really odd consistency because it is like normal dry paint, but it's kind of not. It's got a slightly sort of almost oily greasiness about it. It's very odd, but I like what it does. Well, certainly in this case I do anyway. I don't know how you can see that now. It's just brought that to a nice sheen. So this here, so that's it as it is, just looks like kind of leathery, you know, nothing fancy, leather sort of carapace. But then you just start to bring in this gold and it just suddenly transforms it. Just lifts those top areas. And then suddenly it's turned into this sort of beautiful, and it's simple as that. And that's just how I like as a general rule. I can't stand gold. I really hate that look of gold. I find it real gaudy, but I like that sort of ancient gold. And yeah, I was so pleased when I kind of just stumbled across this method. Now I'm probably overusing it on stuff now. I'm finding reasons to use it. End of his tip of his beak. Just a little bit, just so almost like it's catching the light almost. It's quite nice. Quite a nice effect. Yeah, isn't that nice where it just suddenly it just gives it that lovely little sheen. Love it. Yeah, it's Steve, that Goldworks trick. Yeah, it really does, man. It's just, it's so good. You know, I wish I really liked the game Age of Sigmar, and remotely wanted a Sigmarite army, because I'd smash them beggars out. Well, I tell you what, I could. If I was going to do a 40k army, I could do one of those 40k players. You might have to help me out if any of you are. But the Emperor's Guard, the Protectorate, is that them? You know, the gold adorned Marines with the quite tall helmets and that. I could smash an army of them out. Sorry, just got to quickly reply to a message. Yeah, I think they might be the army Custodes. Thank you, Custodes. That's what I was trying to say, Steve. Custodes, not Protectorate. Who on earth are the Protectorate? God knows. Those Custodes would be a pretty cool army to do. But I have also realised that I'm just... if it's at 28 mil, I have zero interest in a large-scale army game. It really, except Star Wars. Star Wars is the only one that interests me. But even then, I'm not getting that painted quick enough, so... that's a frustration in itself. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'll call him done. Oh, I know what I've got to do. I know what I've got to do. Oh, he knows. 0.2 or 0.5. It's the easy way to do eyes, people. No cross-eyed minis here. No, you can even get to see that. Focus in there. Can you see how the eye comes out? One of those things, until I heard somebody say it, I couldn't believe it never occurred to me to just use a pen on eyes. And it was like, well, that's that then. I shall never do anything but a black dot on eyes. And obviously it helps if you're not doing humans and you don't need to do like the whites of their eyes or anything like that. It's amazing how just doing those eyes has now in my mind finished it. Because I knew it was missing something. I couldn't really figure out what it was. And then that's just absolutely nailed it. Lovely. Right. Basing. I'll definitely do a tuft or two. I'll put a few little pretty flowers on there and things. I don't want it to be at that sort of level of basing. That's too much. I don't think it's too much for that one. It's just more in the territory of him. Just some tufts and variety in the scatter. Where's that thing? Oh, where's all my stuff? Oh no, sorry, this is the static that I prefer most. And it's winter. So yeah, this is Pico Scene again, winter. Now fortunately, near where me and Steve live, there's a really nice store called City Cycle Centre. And it's, I think I mentioned it in one of the last streams that they've got a bit of everything in there. And one of them is a very nice hobby bit, but it's a train. They've got a really good train section. Now, fortunately, I went in there the day or two after that type of store was able to open. I was like, good, I can go and get some more of this Pico Scene stuff, and I was going to look at the other stuff they've got. And he doesn't do Pico Scene. I was like, why? Mr. Howell, hello, how are we, sir? Bobby Clark, I've got my hands on some Star Wars Legion models, Boba Fett, Count Dooku to paint for myself. Look like nice sculpts, good detail. Yes, they are, yeah. They've been getting better and better as they've been going, to the point of getting really good now. Really, really good. The poses are getting better. There's something about the detail in the sculpts is getting better as well. Yeah, really, really good. I am much impressed with them, but I haven't bought anything too recently. I'm trying to think what's the last thing I probably got. In fact, it was probably what Steve must have got for me. I can't think again what you call them. Mine's not working today. Not officers. Oh, Steve will know. Steve, what are they called? Yeah, the Dooku model is very good. and I have seen some extremely impressive paint jobs on that Count Dooku. And Bobby, I have no doubt I shall add yours to that rank too. Tony Howell, hey Luke, doing good here, just doing a bit of babysitting and we'll be painting soon. Good for you, my man, good for you. What will you be painting? Not the baby, I hope. A bit of paint down on this base. Just going to use some wildwood just to darken most of the ground. I'm going to use a grey and stuff on the rock. I'll use two different shades on the ground just to, again, I can't stand it when I see people doing bases with, you know, essentially like one, maybe two colours. It's like, oh, look at the ground. Just look at the ground. Whenever you go out somewhere, just look at it. There are colours galore around you. You know, subtle variations, but they are everywhere. Nice. Good. Oh, I'm going to start doing voices again, am I? I was doing that last time. Imperial Specialist, thank you, Steve. Bloody hell. Tony, how I couldn't paint a whole baby in one sitting. I'll be doing some work on Jesse James from Wild West Exodus. Nice. When we started this mini swap thing, Tony, it's kind of lucky now that I know you're into Wild West Exodus, because the mini I initially was painting was a Wild West Exodus mini, and I decided against it in the end. It wasn't the mini. Well, the mini wasn't the one I wanted to do in the end. It wasn't. I felt like I was pushing to make it fit the theme that we were given, and I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't quite justify it, and I kept. It didn't sit right with me. I'm kind of glad I didn't in the end, because obviously chances are you've got it. So, not that it kind of matters anyway, because it's what I'm sending you will be a static piece like you sent me. But I'd rather it was something you didn't have. You know, something a bit different. That Wild West Exodus game, I really wanted to like that game, but I just feel they just went too far with it. You know, I thought the whole steampunk Wild West. I'm not a big steampunk fan at the best of times, but I don't mind it. I can deal with it when it's done well. And when I saw the Wild West Exodus, I thought that's a really quite a cool idea. You know, I quite like it when I've seen variations on Wild West. You know, like weird Wild West and stuff like that. You know, I find it quite appealing. And at first, I thought Wild West Exodus was really cool because it was just weird Wild West steampunk. But then it got super weird, like all the aliens and stuff. It's just like, no, they kind of, for me, they jumped the shark, which was a shame. But it sounds like a very good game. Sounds like it's good fun. And you know, after Andy's live stream, was that last night? I don't even know what day it is anymore. I mean, I couldn't have told you what day the week it was for at least 2.5 months now. But yeah, after his stream where Wild West Exodus came up in the chat quite a lot, it did make me think about maybe just picking up some minis just to paint. Just I don't think I'd ever really given them credit for how really good they are. And there's definitely some that I would enjoy painting. You will indeed. You will have a Luke original. No of this print nonsense, you know. Just putting a grey on the base. I think the camera looks very dark. I don't know how bad it is for you guys. I'm sorry if it is. There's much I can do about it now, but I've just put a load of black browns around the base, and then I've just done a basilicum grey wash on there, and then just pushed a little bit of brown up on there just to, again, for that variation in shade and tone, because stones, again, they're not all one blooming colour. Tony Howell, I love some of the Wild West Exodus minis, but I only get the ones I like. That's the nice minis. Perfect way to be. Yeah. How many, when you play a game of Wild West Exodus, how many minis have you got on the table? Because I know there's some big minis in there, isn't there? There's like big sort of armoured, tanky, you know, stagecoaches and stuff, isn't there? And usually you don't see something like that unless there's a reasonable amount of stuff on the table. But obviously I always got the impression it was essentially a skirmish game. Have they still got the sort of Firefly set for it, as it were? Is that still a thing since it changed over to War Cradle? Or am I getting it confused with another game? Paint that dry a little bit. I probably blew on the microphone then. In fact, actually, I shall put a little bit of scatter in to the wet paint. I don't play the games. Tony Howell, I don't play the games. I just paint them up and enjoy the hobby. Well, as I kind of said on the Blackjack Legacy group the other day, that's really how it's gone for me nowadays. If I'm completely honest, it's very, very much less about the game for me now. I will still play the games, and there are games I want to play, like Legion. I really want to play more Dreadball as well, because Dreadball is I think, massively underrated game. I really want to play some Dead Zone as well. But yeah, certainly just as it feels for me at the moment, it's not, the game is not the focus. I'm more just about enjoying this side of the hobby much more now. I'm thinking of really just getting into really making dioramas. Doing this thing for you has kind of a little bit like when I discovered these Burrows and Badgers minis. It's kind of awoken. These brought me back into wanting to paint again and enjoying, because they sit so well in the palette of painting that I love, all the neutral, natural tones. That sort of made them massively engaging for me. And then doing this diorama for you has equally kind of awoken something in me. Primal as you could get anyway. Glue. Where's me glue? Oh. Steve, have you ever been at all tempted with Wild West Exodus? I know you and me have a shared love of a bit of Wild West, and also I don't need Wild West Exodus because I've made my own Wild West game. I don't need somebody else's with loads of weirdness in it. Nice. Actually, I'm probably doing this a little early because I probably should have done a little bit of dry brushing on the stone before I did, but I can do that afterwards. That's no biggie, no big deal. A little bit down the R. Burrows and Badgers. This is a game also I very much would like to play. Tony Howe, that's excellent. Andy's Kings of War rekindled my passion for scratch building and going to town on scenics. Yeah, it's one of the only reasons I would even remotely consider Kings of War is that awesome aspect of the fact that you don't just make a load of rank and file men, or you can. There's no issue in that, but you can essentially just make like a diorama. You can set that however they are, as long as they're the overall base is the right size. Sorry, yeah, as long as that overall base is the right size, then it's all good. I think that's such a great idea. Stephen Murphy, it's never really taken my fancy. Too much weird for my taste in Wild West. Yeah, it sounds like you fall in the same place as me. It started off in a good spot, and then it was just, no, you've really gone too far. It's like the fact there's grey aliens, like the aliens, Area 51 as we would know them, sort of thing. Like they're in it. It's like, what are they called, the Watchers or something like that? All right, fine, I get it, but I don't know. That just of all of the things they could have done, I was just a bit like, okay, right. If that's what you fancy doing, have at it. A bit of tofty goodness going on here. Bobby Clock. My friends are polar opposites of me at gaming these days. They're all very clued up on rules and most competing tournaments. Oh, I couldn't. The only game I have ever considered entering a tournament for, not because I remotely thought I'd be any good at it, but just because I really liked the game, was for Warhammer Underworlds. And a mutual friend of mine and Steve's, can't call you Steven despite the fact it's written there like that, mine and Steve's mate Helia, he got really into it to the point that he actually would come up to the UK Games Expo for the Underworlds tournament, and I would watch him playing it when I was working on my volunteer shift, and it actually looked really good. He always played for the most part with real good humoured people, but then I've seen, working at the UK Games Expo, I've seen the other side of the tournaments, the real Uber take it, really serious, and that just doesn't. No, I don't. I think a lot of tournaments, they often have the sportsmanship award. I think I would win that award hands down every time, and if I didn't win it, I desperately want to meet the person who did, because they would be a very, very nice person who took everything very lightly. But yeah, not my bag. These the Tufts, they do have adhesive backs, but not to the point that I trust them. I just changed glue as well, because for some reason this, which is actually a Screwfix, where I got it from Screwfix, is actually a very gel kind of consistency. I don't know if you could see it in the bottle as to how thick it is. It's not nearly as, which is also this is also from Screwfix, or might have been actually from B&Q, but same thing. Yeah, I don't use hobby super glue as far as I'm concerned. What next on here? I think we will have a few little flowers here and there. I fear he may actually be done and finished. Not even touched the stone. The stone might even be done. I have another one who's primed and ready to go, so I shall finish him or start him. I like to break the tufts up a bit as well, because otherwise you end up with everything looking like it's all got the same pre-arranged bit of tuft on it. No. Again, go back to the colour variations and stuff. In nature, it's all about randomness and sort of haphazard. Wildflowers don't look like an arranged flower bed at Kew Gardens or whatever. What? Has it done that? Bizarre. Starkey's Bad Cave. I bought Shadespire. Someone said it was like Gore Chosen. Found it wasn't. Never even opened it. Gathering dust now. Oh, it's a shame, because I think it's an absolutely fabulous game. I haven't played Gore Chosen. From what I understand, Gore Chosen was a very, very simple rules-light game. And although Warhammer Underworlds is far from a complex game, it's with all the deck building and stuff incorporated within it, it's not I wouldn't say it's just as simple as anything. It's got weight behind it. It can be very simple, because you can just use all the pre-arranged decks. You don't need to faff around deck building. Luckily, it's one of the few games that I don't find the deck building particularly daunting. One of the nice things is your deck will generally consist of about half and half, maybe more so towards the favour of cards that can only go in your decks, and then there's loads of cards that are sort of agnostic and could go in anybody's deck. But they kind of so your choices get nicely limited in that sense anyway. So you've not got crazy amounts of cards to wade through and pore over and check you're not missing some specific combo that you just must have. I think. What do you think, old birdie be done? That's the base nice and finished. I will, once it's all dry and there's no glue around the edge, I will go around the edge and black out the border. But I am really quite happy with my Sparrowhawk. I think he shall join the ranks of my woodland friends very happily. Most happy with that. Bobby Clark, friend of mine, got third place at LVO a couple of years ago for generalship and army painting. Most competitive people I know are the most sporting of gamers. Good. That's good to know. That's really good to know. Yeah, because I wouldn't have assumed it to be that way. So here's the last one I've got primed. It's the weasel that goes with these two that I've already done. He's annoyingly top heavy, that one. Ooh, looks very nice, Luke. Thank you very much, Bobby. Nothing in comparison to your efforts on anything, but I much appreciate the compliment. Thank you. So there's another one I've got to figure out. What colour his tunics and stuff will be. I went a grey and a black on the last one, and a burgundy and a grey on that one. Hum. I've just realised I did one of these as a sort of grey stoat, and then this one as a brown stoat. Maybe I should mix up. I don't particularly like the pose in this model. Generally, Michael Lovejoy makes just about the best pose models in the industry. This one is just a bit too weird, but because it's a stoat or a ferret, the proportions of the body are very odd anyway, because it's essentially a furry rat snake. So I might do this one with a bit more ferretiness about it. So like like whites around the eyes, and let me have a look up ferret markings. Some images of ferrets up in front of me. Sounds like a Google search could go drastically wrong very quick. Right. Okay, so the dark around the eyes and a white circle and snout. And then they're kind of almost a bizarre. It's like they're white underneath are black, but that's actually not a problem because I really can't see his body anyway. But that's what I'll go for. That kind of almost panda-esque look. For my little stoat, I will. Stoaty stoat. Ferrety ferret. It's very hard to say the word ferret without sounding very country. Well, you got 3 ferrets down my trousers. You don't know what to do with them. Where to start? Oh, actually, okay, that's what we'll do. We'll do Bobby Clark. In Burrows and Badgers, do you paint up your warband group in a uniform or in certain colours like a faction? You can. It's really, really loose within the game. So the way it works is, and I might be getting it slightly wrong because I haven't actually read the rulebook for a little while, but it's one of the few books that I have read pretty well. So you have all the different species, and you can have bonuses based on having logical groups, as it were. So like if you had a predominantly rat thing or something like that, you get bonuses like that. And then in the theme of the game, there's like royalists, which I think the backstory is something to do with like the king has disappeared or something like that. I forget what the backstory is now. So there's the royalist, obviously, part of the royal court and stuff like that, and people often do the again, depending on what faction you're in, you get certain buffs and bonuses based on stuff. The royalists, a lot of people use like a lot of the minis that I don't know how well you can see him, but like this is a knight, so he's got his like heraldry on him and stuff like that. So yeah, you'll get people who paint them up in a way that looks consistently regal. Like there's like they all walk under the same banner at certain points. Then you get the I have the book to hand. Where is it? There it is. So you got royalists, then you have the like loyalists or something like that. Where is it? So a lovely book. The artwork's all really nice. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of old fighting fantasy books. It's got that kind of style about it. Where is it? Obviously, some of the minis are more intended to be parts of certain warbands and certain groups. But for the most part, they can all really be wherever they like. Pot again. Where's the warband net? Find it for the life of me. It's here somewhere. One of the main things about it is you can, for the most part, do as you like. You know, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's such a sort of simple aspect of the game that essentially before you had a match with somebody, you would just say, "Oh yeah, we're loyalists or whatever, so we get blah 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 blah." You know. Here we are. Right, so you get the royalists. Yes, King Red Wolf is missing. Yeah, that's right. I thought it was something to do with the missing king. Yeah, so yeah, they get their buffs, and then you get the rogues. So yeah, they fight in a very sort of stealthy, you know, kind of ambushing type way. Then you get the free beasts, who I think are kind of, yeah, they're not. They're almost like the rebels, the baddies, almost in a sense. And then you get the wild beasts, who are even more so the baddies. Very druidic and cult-like. But a lovely book. See some of the artwork. Some of the artwork's really good. Yeah. Some of the artwork's just really nice. It's got such good style to it. Just great. It's just beautifully written book, really nicely done. It's produced by Osprey as well, so it's nicely produced, really beautifully printed. It's great, absolutely brilliant stuff. Love it. Right, so let's do this ferret. I've got a. So if he's going to be dark and white, I want something that complements and contrasts his fur for his clothing. Can't just blend in with it. I think maybe we'll go brown, maybe with a little bit of blue. Maybe a splash of blue just for some colour. Yeah, I think I can make that work. Yeah, I think we'll go predominantly like light brown. Actually no. No, I'll go with a sort of, yeah, like a light brown, like cream almost. Right, yeah. Okay, so it's not grey, it's not black, and it's really like a really dark brown. I think I'll go with a wildwood contrast on him initially. This will be the last one. Last of my initial run, except with the addition of the hawk, who's the only of my new ones that I painted because I was so desperate to get to him. Remotely focus, alright. Don't think I've got it quite light enough tonight. I don't know how well you can see it. Oh, that's probably a bit better, isn't it? Just turn the bloody light up. I would, Bobby, I would love to see you tackle some of the Burrows and Badgers minis. Love to see what you did with them. With someone of your talent and skill. When I finally dare to use my airbrush, I'm going to get back into doing a lot more zenithal and using the contrast over zenithal again, because I think they work really well with that, which I think is something we were discussing before, Bobby. Bobby Clark, seems like a good thing for me to get into with my limited hobby time. What animal do you think best resembles you and why? What animal best represents me and why? I think I'd like to think it was this beaver. He's a little bit portly. He has an air of menace about him when he needs to. Looks like he might give you some sage advice when needed. Which I like to think I would. But he ain't going to get anywhere quick. But he's a surprisingly good swimmer. There you go. Yeah, I think I am the beaver. In so many levels. See, I've always said I don't really like it when I have to paint a miniature I don't like. And although I say this is one of the ones, to be honest, I kind of left it till last because it was the one that inspired me the least out of all of the minis. But even to that point, I still think it's bloody lovely. You know, it just does it for me a lot less than any of the others do. But I can certainly understand how sculpting a ferret that stood bolt upright is no easy task. It's so unnatural for it to be stood essentially on its hind legs that, anthropomorphic or otherwise, it's never gonna. It's not easy to make it look right, you know. And the way Michael's done it more so in this one is because of the cloak and sort of bulking out of the body. That kind of helps it not look quite so odd like these two, but because they've got nothing else really around them, they almost look like they've been hung on a coat hook. From the back of a door. And they're just angry about it. Starkey's Man Cave, how do the lighter contrasts work with zenithal, especially in the darker areas? It depends. It depends. It depends what you're trying to achieve, how dark a look you're willing to go. They obviously they will not cover it very well on the blacks aspect of the zenithal. You would probably want to do it a much lighter than regular zenithal, you know. The blacks would be very much the shadows, but they do work. I've seen a lot of people doing it, and I have done it on a model before, and was pretty happy with the results. Bobby Clark, interesting how you left your least favourite model till last. I do it the other way around. Absolutely. And normally I would, but because I got these three as a set, and it wasn't really till I got them out and looked at them and I was like, okay, I probably wouldn't have bought them. I would have bought something else. So I was so enamoured with everything else. I started with the more simple, easy ones, like the Snake Knight was the first one I did, just because there really wasn't anything to him, you know. And then I think it was the Sparrow or the Mouse Nun, and again, there wasn't really much to him. Sparrow was alright, but I didn't. They were small and kind of insignificant. I actually might have done the Shrew quite early, despite the fact I really like him. Angry little bastard that he is. I very nearly tried to do tartan on his trousers. Probably would have been a terrible mistake, and that's why I didn't do it. Right. So if I go, what am I after? Oh, bloody hell! I just put contrast paint on a bloody painted Black Sea shit. That's why I should have put them away and not left them on that shelf all this time. Only a little bit though. It will live. Bobby Clark. These are like Sylvanian families on roids. I really like them. You couldn't have put it better. Yeah, it's exactly what they're like. Starkey's Man Cave. After painting with a contrast, does a shade like Agrax still work for dirtying them? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah, it really, really does. I find I need it less, or I use it less, but it still absolutely works. Yeah, it works really well. Really, really well. What was I going to... yeah. Go through it. Oh, actually, that's what I could do. Yeah, I could do like bluey grey. Yeah, that's what I'll try to do. A blue grey for his tunic. Oh, that needs a good shake. You really have to get, if you have that white sediment in the bottom, you have to get that out. At least as best you can. I've never thought to put agitators in my contrast paints, but it might be worth it. Doesn't seem to want to come up, but sure it'll be alright. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I was thinking. Nice. Nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a Burrows and Badgers diorama. I can really go to town on the trees and stuff, terrain and stuff around it. And just got to decide who's going to be in in the fray of whatever little story I'm telling. Yeah, I'll probably Starkey's Man Cave. Starkey, what? Have you got your own channel, Starkey, or like a Facebook group? What is Starkey's Man Cave? Yeah, I do have agitators generally, Bobby, in most of my stuff, but I just haven't bothered in the contrast. I don't really think they need it. I suppose wouldn't be the worst thing. I've probably got enough that I could. How many paints are in the range? What is that? 8, 16, 24. So about 35 or so paints in the range. 36. Yeah, I've probably easily got enough that I could stick a glass bead in each one of them. Not quite as I hoped, but I think it'll be alright once I've done everything else on him. That'll be alright. Yeah, Tony saying agreed. Agitators for contrast is a good move. Okay. Where are they gone? Where's my little bag of agitators? Well, that is a pain in the bum. What the hell have I done with it? God, I spent more bloody time looking for stuff tonight than I have painted stuff. They were right. This is why I should never tidy up. I had a real good tidy up yesterday. A bit of a sort out. And now, can I see the bloody things? Well, I suppose a little clear baggie of bloody glass beads doesn't really stand out. That's the trouble. Right, well, I don't know where they are, but I will take that advice, and I shall put agitators in them. Bobby Clark. Do the models on large bases signify hero type characters, or are they just chunky beaver type models? No, you in the game you have size, so things are various sizes, and the base denotes that. I forget what sizes they come in now. Yeah, so massive. So a beaver is a massive beast, so it's a 50mm base, and then you get large beasts which are 40mm bases, medium beasts which are 30mm, and small beasts which are also 30mm, which is basically the standard base. There is a platypus. I don't know why there's a platypus. The few minis in the range I don't like are the ones that aren't what I would consider traditional woodland creatures, such as there's like this imagine a tortoise that was also a Roman legionnaire. Yeah, that's in the range. It stands out so much that it's just no. Okay, I couldn't get on board with that. Then obviously there's a platypus. I think he's done the miniature for a platypus. But the ones I don't particularly get behind are the dogs and the cats. because I can accept elements of scale change, but all of the dogs look, and the cats all look kind of smaller than I'm expecting. And I don't know what it is. I think so. They're the ones I've kind of avoided, the dogs and the cats. Starkey's Man Cave. I've got a channel, no Facebook page. I do all sorts of videos, comics, miniatures, board games, and anything else that I can get all geeky over. P.S. It's not a brilliant channel. Well, those that are in it, check it out. I'll give it a look. Starkey's Man Cave, that makes sense now. Yeah, just geek galore. Right. I should probably put him on the painting stand now. Tony Howe, where do you get your glass beads from? I've heard horror stories of stainless steel ones rusting, and would rather do glass. Yes, because the amount of times I've seen people who've bought stainless steel ball bearings and they ain't stainless steel. They've just been sold an absolute bloody lie. My glass beads came from, I believe, I want to say it's TT Combat. I think. One of my birthdays, my last birthday, in fact, sorry, everybody kept saying to me, what do you want, what do you want? And I was just like, oh, I know what, I'll get them to get me a load of stuff from TT Combat, like their paint racks and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, TT Combat paint agitators, bag of 100 paint agitators for £6. So you can't go too wrong there. And they work great. They've got just as they've got enough sort of. They're not light, so light that they don't feel like they move around. They do. They absolutely do. Wherever the hell mine are. It's really annoying. Where on earth could I put them? I reckon they're in there. Yeah, I reckon they're in there. I'm not going to yeah, it's better. Rope. Yeah, I think I'll whoever said it, Starkey, yeah. I think I will give this guy like a wash of bits of Agrax and bit of Null Oil here and there afterwards. I think I'll make him a bit grubbier. Tell you one of the other great things about Burrows and Badgers, the range in general. You can buy little starting war bands which cost like 22 or 24 quid, and there's like 7 or 8 minis in there. Or you can buy them all individually, and like they start at like 3 quid. You know, they're 3 quid up to like, I think 12 quid for the biggest ones. You know, it's so cool that you know it's not easy to do that anymore. You know, a lot of stuff you have to buy all of this lot and you know this box of that because you want to get this out of it or whatever. So it's nice to be able to pick and choose what you like. You know. And that they're all affordable enough that you just, you know, you just keep going. When I worked for Screwfix, I didn't. I found stainless steel ball bearings. One, you heard the horror stories that people essentially weren't getting stainless steel ones. And two, they're bloody expensive stainless steel ball bearings. So when I was at Screwfix, I bought bags of stainless steel nuts, and they worked an absolute treat as agitators. Put like 2 or 3 in. They were really good. I don't know if it's going to be of any interest to viewers, but we shall see with my channel. But I am currently editing my first vlog. I decided, for some reason, in this hobby, there aren't many vloggers, and through a bunch of things, there's a bunch of people I do watch as vloggers, but generally they're more based around my love of photography and stuff, and always wanting to get more into cinematography and filmmaking. No, I don't mean filmmaking like proper filmmaking. I mean just making nice videos at home and stuff. But yeah, a lot of the bigger ones are very famous for their vlogs. I mean, like, for instance, Casey Neistat essentially made a fortune out of vlogging, you know. And I really like the style of his vlogs and the way he does them. And it just sort of, I was watching, there's another guy, a very Canadian called Peter McKinnon, who does cinematography and photo stuff, and they do a lot of tutorials based around like Premiere Pro and editing software and stuff, so I've been watching a lot of them lately. And yeah, it just sort of dawned on me when I was watching. I was trying to think, other than Rodney Smith from Watch It Played, who does his own vlog, but not as part of his channel. Watch It Played, it's literally for his own, on his own Rodney Smith channel. I just couldn't think of anybody else who does a vlog. And I just thought that was kind of weird. So I'm going to do a vlog. It's going to be, I think currently, my plan is to currently do a video every week. So in a month you'll have a video of like me making a thing, maybe doing a little tutorial about something. Then the next week will be a vlog. Then it'll go back to a video, vlog, video, vlog, video, vlog, video, back and forth. And I would like to do a live stream, a hobby hangout, once a week as well. That's my current ideal plan. As to whether it pans out like that, who knows? We shall see. But once I am back in whatever is normality now, that might not be quite as simple as I'd like, but because I've got the job with the dice tower on top of it as well, which takes up some of my time. Not a huge amount, but I am getting paid for that, so that's, you know, I have to make sure I do it right. I can't just wing it on that front. Tony Howe, all that'd be cool. I keep photo diaries in my hobby, but I don't have the confidence to go with voice and face and public exposure. I admire you guys who do this kind of thing. I tell you what, Tony, you want to admire, especially with a face like this. You know, this is a podcaster's face, if ever there was one. This is a podcaster's body, face, the lot. And I probably wouldn't even say this is a podcaster's voice. I've probably got this all backwards. what I probably shouldn't be doing all this. I should probably just be enjoying the content from other people. But hey, I'm doing it now. So yeah, the first vlog, it's just gonna be kind of me introducing myself. Yeah, just sort of, I'll just tell a little bit of story about me, and there's a little bit of a name ramblings, which is kind of what I'm quite good at, going off on a tangent. Literally, something caught my eye like a magpie. Then I was just like, oh, I'm just going to ask him about that. I was just thinking, as I say, going off on a tangent, I could see what my next tangent was, but I won't do it. Not remember that. Colour should his hood needs to stand out against the dark of the face, but then the face is going to have light on it as well. Colour should that be? Bobby Clark, based on the stuff I've seen in the last few live shows, you'll have plenty of good content for the vids. Well, I really appreciate that, mate. I really appreciate that. Tony Howe, you do good, matey. Thank you, mate. What's that? What have I done with that? I'll tell you what, it will be nice to be able to see some people. There's people who I've in my life who I've managed to socialise with as best you can in amongst all this, but I have drastically missed their company. Steve Murphy being one of those people, and his brother, also one of the old housemates, and various other of the lads. Luckily, some of them I shall see this weekend, which I cannot wait. It doesn't happen to me very often, but today, I don't know why, it just was what it was. But I well and truly woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I was quite miserable today, and quite easily wound up. Probably a very good thing for my wife, that she went out shopping for most of the morning and didn't have to put up with me being a miserable beggar for the vast majority of it. Which didn't make it very easy to put up with my 2-year-old being Stephen Murphy. We've got a lot of pandemic legacy to catch up on. Damn right we do. And we're just starting to get back onto it as well. Yeah, we've got a lot of people not surviving a pandemic to keep up with. It's just the way it was suddenly turning. Don't worry, no spoilers. I just knocked the camera. It's alright. What to do? I can't figure out what to do with that hood. This top section here. What colour? Basically, it's like a light blue grey tunic, and then the face is going to be dark and white, so it's quite. I want it to be plenty of brown, so I don't need a. So it doesn't want to be. I was going to do a tan on it earlier, but oh, bloody hell! How many times have I knocked that one over tonight? Purple's too much. Purple would be way too. I think it's got to be a green. A green. Yeah, green's the way to go. I think. Yeah, that was the right choice. Yep. Good. That's yeah, that works. That works nicely. Doesn't take too much away from everything else. Nice shade of green. Yeah. Good choice, Luke. Good choice. Probably should have done his paws dark brown as well. I didn't think to look what a ferret's paws are like. Dark. Good. That's the wrong bloody brown. Bugger. So you get to miss him in the first place. I think, and you guys can tell me whether I'm right or wrong, I'm getting better at keeping this on camera. Is that right? I hope I am. I'm happy with the camera angle that I've got this time. I've got it in quite an unusual spot. Like I've got it clamped to the desk in front of me. And then it's like, oh, you can actually just see it here, yeah. So it's kind of, it's only like 4.5, 5 inches from my face, but it's not in a place that obscures me seeing the model, or feels like I'm always about to headbutt it, which is good. And I think I finally got it in a spot where you lot can actually see what the hell I'm doing. More so than when it was right above. It just looked like you were seeing all way too much of everything else that you don't need to see. I should have done that better. Bobby Clark, pretty central. Good. Pretty central, will do. Do any of you guys in the chat ever go to like a UK Games Expo or Salute or Well, ones are there nowadays. Definitely keeping it short. You've been pretty good at keeping on camera, buddy. Thank you, mate. Good. Glad to know. Yeah. Do any of you lot go to like conventions or anything of the sort? I'm not going to do anything fancy with his weapons. Just going to put a Nuln oil wash on them. They're prime grey anyway. And it should just give a fairly good tone. Sort of very, 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 very basic non-metallic metal. I like to think I do the most basic version of non-metallic metals you can do. I don't tend to like silver paints and stuff anymore. That gold technique is pretty much the only time you'll ever see me use a metallic. Just tend not to like it anymore. I think metallics, it's like they're not to scale with the miniature, in my mind. It like if I was looking at somebody from this distance and they were that size from where I could see them, if they were they'd have to be holding like a nickel plated insanely shiny metal sword or gun for me to see it as silvery, you know. I think for the most part they turn into like greys and light greys and stuff like that, which is why I kind of, like I said, I've shied away from using metallics. Yeah, that should do. Bobby Clark. I don't go to conventions. I went to Warhammer Fest last year for Golden Demon and a model railway show with my girlfriend's dad. About it, really. Be nice to go to some in the future, though. Oh, you absolutely should. I mean, I've been going to UK Games Expo. I go as a volunteer because it pays for itself essentially, because you get put up for free and stuff like that. Obviously, you have to spend your time, but that's not a problem, I don't mind that. I've met some really good people via it and stuff like that, and it's all fun, and you don't give up that much of your time, in all fairness. Yeah, I'll be going to UK Games Expo for I think this year would have been my 5th year or 6th year, I'm not sure. And then Salute, kind of been going to Salute on and off. God, bloody hell, for probably like 15 years, if not more. Mark Tattersall, hello sir, how are we? I go to Expo. It was a sickener that we lost it this year. Not entirely sure it's ever coming back. The guy who ran it said on Tabletop interview that they would likely have to borrow 250. Yeah, it was Tony, wasn't it? Said that. I can't remember if it was Tony or Richard actually. Yeah, it did suck losing it. Obviously they tried to postpone it. I was very lucky. I got to go to a convention literally was it the weekend before lockdown, I think. We went to Aircon. And yeah, that was awesome. I think the fact that I'd been to that just before this all kicked off, and just before everybody's world just got completely flipped upside down, I think did an awful lot for me not feeling too bad in the beginning of it all, just being able to ride it out, just because I'd had so much social interaction. I'd had 3 days of just solid gaming and spending time with some really good friends. That really helped. And speaking to Mark, who runs Aircon, as a good friend of mine. Yeah, who knows what will happen and when anything like those will happen again. I mean, they will happen again, surely they will. You know, if you can go and sit in a bloody cinema, then they'll have to happen again. But yeah, so the ones I go to with any regularity is Aircon, UK Games Expo, and Salute. Me and Steve and some of the guys, we were going to go this year or last year. I'm trying to think who. Steve, if you're still there, who did we go with last time? I know you and me went, and there was it Ken and Summers? Was Summers there? And somebody else? I forget if Hellier was there or Lloyd was there. I forget, but I reckon that was not last year, not the year before, maybe the year before that. But Salute's really good fun. It's essentially just a massive trade show there. Take away your money, but you see loads of cool stuff. And where I am in the hobby now, it would almost be a dream come true. Because whereas before I'd end up buying like a whole new army or something like that. Whereas now I could really go and just sort of go, oh, that's a cool mini, I want to paint that, or oh yeah, that's a cool mini, which actually will probably cost me still just as much. I don't know who I was trying to kid then. But yeah, I mean, I made a Wild West game because of one visit to Salute one year. Right, I've just got to figure out how I'm going to do the light fur on his face. I think the point is it's not white. It is a borderline cream. That's the lightest tan I have. Buff. What a paint name. Buff. Its translation doesn't seem to ring true. Amarillo cacao, or buff. Mark Tassel, to run it next year, quite a gamble for them to expect them to take. Yes, it will be a gamble. I think it is a gamble that will be taken. And I think by the time, I don't know, would it be, what are we talking, end of May, July? I don't know, will things like that be back by the end of May, July? I have no idea. Steve, you're in the biomedical science world. Is that even remotely likely? Tony Howe, last con I went to was in Sheffield in the mid-80s. What sort of convention was it though, Tony? Stephen Murphy, I want to say it was Summers and Alex, but can't really remember. It was a good few years ago now. Yeah, maybe it was more than that. It was more years ago than that. I know your brother picked up, I know Ken was there because he picked up Blood Bowl Team Manager, didn't he? For a really good price, and he was real chuffed with himself. And I think you're right. I think Alex was there, but I can't. Yeah, because you bought your Mexican terrain for the Wild West game that year. I can't think why Alex would have been there and what he would have bought, and he just came for the day out. Maybe. Who knows? It's not quite the colour I'm after, but I think with some white I can make that work. Oh, why do I do that? Why do I turn farmer every now and then? Ugh. I've never had that with a Vallejo. Got a load of gunk in the lid. Don't know why. How bizarre. That's better. This is not the colour I am looking for. This is not the colour you're looking for. Getting there. Getting there. See that markings picture again. Right. So around the snout. So dark. Down to the middle of the cheeks. Okay. Pink noses. Gordon Bennett ferrets are bloody cute. Every time I look at that picture. Turning out it was an RPG in Comic Con. Wasn't that well organised, so we went to the pub and got pissed. Always nice to have the option. We certainly had a tradition with Salute. Before they used to have a hall for Salute that was just for the queue, which is blooming ridiculous. It used to just queue basically down the piazza that splits XL in half. It would go halfway down it, or essentially it would start at about roughly the halfway point of where the entrance would be. And basically go all the way to one entrance, one end, and then kind of start to tail back on itself. So it was always a pissing massive queue, and invariably we would go to the like stores that were along it, and buy a can of beer and a can of cider, and we would sit and just watch the queue disappear, and then go like, right, we can go in now. It was a far more civilised way to spend that time than stood in a blooming queue. Because one of the good things, it's not like when Gen Con or Essen opens its doors. You know, there's nothing anybody's running in for just in case it sells out. There's no real major reason to rush in. Mark Tatzel, the Burrows and Badgers stand at Expo last year was really impressive. There was an incredible Bushido diorama nearby. Pity I wouldn't have anyone to play these games with. Yes, the stand for Burrows and Badgers was really nice. It was small, but really clearly laid out. Nice amount of space to move around and have a look at everything. And obviously, it's run by Michael and Joe, who are just two, they're just beautiful, lovely people. I can't remember the Bushido diorama. I know they had a little diorama on a like a plinth pedestal in the middle. I can't particularly remember anything about it, but I remember it being there. although I have a feeling there are recently published solo rules for Burrows and Badgers. Yes, Michael, kind of like 3 weeks in, suddenly put out a... I mean, it was a hastily put out rule set, but it's a rule set. You know, he said, like, you know, this works, let me know of anything that doesn't, as people find it and stuff. And I haven't heard people saying there was any issues with it. I haven't really heard people saying they were playing it either, but it's good that he did it. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with where the markings have gone on his face, roughly. I think once I got like a little bit of a wash and some more highlights around the eyes and the pink on his nose. In fact, we could do the pink on his nose now. Oof, that needs an agitator in it. That sounds horrific inside there. But yeah, Salute's great fun. Just see so much cool stuff that you haven't yet stumbled across on the internet, or you know, via something like this, you know, whatever you've just suddenly heard mention of, and then next thing you know, you're going down a rabbit hole watching various videos and looking at cool websites on some obscure miniature range or game. How much pink was on their face? Just a snap. Oh, ears are pink. He's probably going to be the cutest one of these. He might be one of the cutest ones I've done. I have done him very cutesy in comparison. Teeth. Noticed his teeth. Sorry, concentrating then. Went silent. Can't have that dead air. I'm a professional, god damn it. Bobby Clark, I recall Goblin Gaming doing some interview with the B&B guy at some expo last year. I think that was where I first heard of it. Yeah, it was probably at UK Games Expo. I don't know who Goblin Gaming is though. That doesn't ring a bell. I don't think I've seen their stuff before. You know what? I might even go... Cool, I never thought about this. Maybe I'll go to UK Games Expo next time as press. And instead of ushering around all those press people at the press release before the show, the night before, I get to be one of those people. And I shall be ushered. Whew, never even thought about it. Press. I have my press pass. Whew. Whew. The dizzy heights of hobby YouTubing. Now I imagine a ferret's eyes are really dark. Yeah, they are. That doesn't really... I don't really want to do that though, because that's too dark. Can't actually see his eyes, so just gonna highlight just around the edges of his eyelids. Try and get some of that. That's better. Yeah, oh, too much. Too much. Where's that pen gone? God, these pens are a bloody lifesaver. How ferrety do we think he looks, people? No, he isn't a ferret, but what do you think? Does he look quite good? Look alright. Tony. So Tony Hauser, go for it. You need a pork pie hat and put your press pass in the ribbon of the hat. You can't look at a man like me and say pork pie. Okay, I clearly know what a pork pie is. I'll go around with my little pad of paper, and just as I go to write something, I'll lick the end of the pencil. Oh yeah. Why did they lick the pencil? Who's ever licked a bloody pencil? Actually, we'll do claws while I'm here as well. Pain in the ass to get to. Sorry if I'm not keeping it on camera at the minute, but that's the fiddly bit. You know what, for a mini I didn't like, this has been quite a good turnaround for me. I'm actually really quite liking this miniature now. Turning it into a ferret from just a regular old stoat has somewhat swayed it. It's brought it back into favour. Tony Howe, pork pie is nom nom. Yes, absolutely. Gotta love a good pork pie. God, my good God, it is hot in here. Mark, have you followed me over from Sporadically Bored group? I definitely recognise your name, and I'm wondering if it's from Sporadically Bored's Facebook group that I know you. Perhaps a soft, Bobby Clark, perhaps a soft pinky flesh colour on the inner ears and near his mouth. I'm no ferret expert though either. We could join that team together, Bobby, because I am, outside of that Google image search, I am no ferret expert myself either. But yes, I think you are right. To be fair, there really isn't any inside of his ears. It's kind of the edge, and then it's fur, like up into them. So there really only is kind of a peak of the ears. I think I might for the most part leave it for fear of buggering it up. Highlight that. Actually, no. We will get the old Agrax out. Bit of Agrax. Got a little bit heavier now. That'll be alright though. That'll be alright. Yeah, it's alright. I think I'm going to wash over the grey because it's not quite how I wanted it in the end. I think an Agrax shade will just give it a bit more tone. Yeah, that's nicer. That's nicer. Muckying him up a bit. Lovely, lovely. You know what? I tend to have finished my streams. Ow. After about 2 hours, but I'm very, very nearly finished, I think, with him. So I'm going to finish and base him. That'll be 2 done in one stream. Happy days. Happy days. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Yeah, that Agrax shades, that's done a number. Done a number on that is. Why do I sound like I'm doing a bad Danny Dyer impression? Odd-sided dice podcast. Hello all, first time catching live. Hope everyone is good and yay for Burrows and Badgers. Good on you for flying the flag. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming in. Much appreciated. Just going to put a little bit of Agrax around some of the cream of it just to get that lighter brown shade that it seems to have from the pictures I've looked at of ferrets. From what I understand, owning a ferret is quite a smelly hobby. Yeah. Tony Howe, give me a second downtime. I'll look up ferret images. Bobby Clark, ferrets seem like my ideal animal. They sleep for 14 to 18 hours a day. Get a hamster. They'll be awake. They're only ever awake when you're asleep. Bobby Clark, hey Odd, we're on Ferret Watch. Tony Howe, ferrets have a variety of nose colours, but the majority are a pinky flesh, and the inside of the ears are furry and tend to be darker. Yeah, the pictures I've got certainly say that as well. That's why I kind of just did the top edges, and the way the mini sculpted kind of almost forced my hand on that anyway. So that's all good. I think that that little bit of Agrax around it actually has just brought it down quite nicely anyway. Again, just made it look a little bit more natural. It was a bit too... I quite like a little bit of pop and a bit of cartoon about these minis sometimes, but that was a bit too much. So I might even just... Now that I've put a bit of a shade on it, just highlight it back a little bit. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Mark Tassel, by the way, did you ultimately find Reichbusters? Oh, how did you ultimately find? That would be a really good question, Mark. Had I yet bloody played it? I still haven't, and it's ridiculous that I haven't, but as much as I've wanted to, starting my YouTube channel was by far my preference. And then having a bit of social time is also my next preference. So when I think about having a game, I tend to want to do it online with some of my friends, and then when I'm not doing that and I'm doing something, I feel like I should be doing something for the channel. So between filming stuff and editing stuff, I just haven't got to it yet, which is a shame. Oh, I've had my knee in a funny position, ever so stiff. Right. Bum bum bum. So the bass, just the bass. It's all about the bass. Outside of this podcast, I find these miniatures are like Pringles. Once I do one, I want to do another. Amen to that. Amen to that completely. I just love them, and it's one of the few ones that if I ever buy more, I'm perfectly happy and I have no guilt. You know, before when I've been playing miniatures games, I bought more and I've just been like, you haven't painted any of the other ones you bought last time, or the ones before that. You know, what on earth are you buying more for? But that's just not the case with Burrows and Badgers. I will get them painted, you know. I only have, just off camera, 1, 2, 3, 5, but 3 of them are so small. 4 of them are so small, they ain't going to take me any time at all. Mark Tassel, not to worry, it took me 3 years to start playing Kingdom of Death Monster. Yeah, it's the way it is, isn't it? It's nature of the beast. Right, I think I shall get a little bit of flock and stuff. In fact, I'll paint, highlight that first. Highlight that stone up a little bit first, and then I'll put some flocks down. Just a wee bit, right. Oh, that's that brush. We think that brush is buggered. Was that great? Tony Howe, I have some Burrows and Badgers, but other stuff on the line before I get to painting Ratty, Molly, Badger and Toad. Yeah, absolutely. Nice, we had a few people in tonight. Thank you very much for everybody who's come in. Much appreciated. Always nice to know you're moving in the right direction. Right. Yeah, there it is. Let's get a bit of glue down. Running glue. Is my wife doing? She's awake very late for her. Oh, bugger. We're about to super glue him to this blue tack. Oh, crap. Oh, now he's super glued to my finger. God. How many times have you super glued stuff to your fingers, people? I've just super glued. Just lent on the actually got a super glue blue tack concoction glued to my elbow. Pretty sure I've also just dipped my hand in a load of scatter where there was a little bit of super glue on the end of my finger. Doing well here. Oh, it's all over the bottom. Bloody hell. What on earth? Earth are you doing, man? All going so well. Starkey's Man Cave, at Mark Tassel, Kingdom Death Monster. The starting basic here is when you upgrade. Are they separate minis or do you glue on the new stuff? The website is a little confusing. A lot of people I know magnetise them, Starkey. I don't know if that's something you're remotely interested in doing, and I can understand why you wouldn't be. Because magnetising, I do love magnetising stuff, but there's stuff that's easier to magnetise, and then there's Kingdom Death Monster. It's not something I would rush to magnetise, but I understand why people would. Bobby Clark, for a bull in a china shop, you're doing pretty good today. Yep. Yep, that last few minutes definitely had that vibe. Damn it. Yeah, it's got a nice look about it. Put a little smidge, just a smidge. I'm not going to put a tuft or any flowers on this one. I'm happy with the rock and grass and bit of scatter. That. Maybe I got a little bit too far on the static, but that's no big tragedy. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, I've got the hairdryer. What the hell is she doing? Right. Tell you one thing I will be painting on these hobby streams at some point in the future is Rumble Slam miniatures. There's a few miniatures ranges that got me really going for it again, and when Jones to get painting Burrows and Badgers and Rumble Slam. So here you go. Here's me. Ooh, sorry. I don't know what I'm doing here. There is one Burrows and Badgers Angry Ferret. Pretty happy with him. Going nice. Base looks alright. Nothing too flashy on the base. So that is my efforts for the evening. Happy days, I think. Happy days. Yeah. Tony Howe, our boy Luke does pretty good. I love his work. Thank you very much, mate. Bobby Clark, Ferret seemed very strong in the game. He's wielding two of the biggest swords I've seen so far in this range. They are, yes, they're not like any other weapon in the game. They're they do seem quite excessive comparative. I mean, they are two bloody great choppers, you know. They're, he means business, and he's got two bloody great sheaths for them on his back as well. Dropped him again. I think that one's going to need a real decent layer of varnish on him. Tony Howe, excellent stuff, buddy. Love it. Thank you very much, mate. Well, suppose we have come to that time again, everybody, in which I shall bid you all adieu. Thank you once again for everybody coming on. I really, really do appreciate it. You know, it's I can't thank you enough for coming on and listening to me ramble while I drop miniatures that I'm trying to be careful with and glue blue tack bases to my elbow. I appreciate it all no end. So thank you all very much. Hopefully, yeah, look out for more stuff coming very soon. I'm slowly getting the hang of Adobe Premiere Pro. It's a little bit like learning a new language, but it's becoming more intuitive each time I sit down and have an editing session. So hopefully we'll get some more stuff going soon. And thank you once again, everybody. Take care. All the best.